Sorority Incorporated, North Charleston Alumni Chapter.
Folks in here.
Is this the
Yes, sir. Because one of them had the modified times. The modified times will start at 6. So that's what I said, you had modified times.
Good evening, good evening. I'd like if you physically able, can you stand to your feet, please? Father God, first of all, before we ask you for anything, oh God, we want to thank you for giving this day, Father God. Father God, we ask now that you bless this meeting, this forum, oh God, that you foresee, Father God, that everything that is said and done in here, Father God, tonight will be done to your glory, oh God. Father God, we ask that these candidates, Father God, that they be honest and as real as you would have them to be, oh God. And Father God, we ask that this meeting and this forum, Father God, would be in a position and in a way that we would get some understanding, Father God, for where we want to go in our future, oh God. And then, God, we ask that when we leave this space, oh God, we ask that you give us traveling grace and mercy. And for anyone else, oh God, that's on their way coming, we ask that you bless them with traveling grace and mercy. These are all the blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Good afternoon. We would just like to welcome you in the absence of my president, Shanta Barry Malone. I, Dan Morton Shepherd of North Charleston Alumni Chapter, just welcome you. Tonight, we hope you get a lot of information so that you can make the right decision. We welcome you once, twice, and 3 times. We say welcome. Good evening. I'm Valerie Harper Young. I'm the president of the Liberty Hill Improvement Council here on Liberty Hill. And I just want to welcome you and thank you all for coming. We are actually working in accordance with the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, North Charleston Alumni Chapter. as well as the Liberty Hill Alliance. So we hope that you all take notes and be informed. Put their brochures back there. So as individuals leave, they can pick up the brochures and take them with them. We also want to let you know if there's any other districts, candidates, to please meet in the back room, because we're going to do this form a little different. We're going to do this form by district. So we have District 7 here, and then we'll call up District 8, and then we'll do District 10, okay? So if there's any district candidates, please remain in the lobby, and we'll direct you to the room in the back. So the questions will be starting with this intro statement, which will be 1 minute. And we have our timekeeper here. She will give you like a 30-second warning, raising her hand. And also the questions will be 1 minute each. And then the closing statement will be 2 minutes. And then the candidates from each district can leave, and the other candidates will come forward. We will not have a break, so you're welcome to leave after you've heard the candidates that represent your district. You're welcome to leave. Okay? All right, I'm finding out we have a district candidate that's here that is unopposed. And we just want him to come up and introduce himself. He represents District 1, Michael Brown. Would you come up? Yes, sir. But in the meantime, we thank all you candidates for participating tonight and for your willingness to run for an important office.
Good evening. As she said, I'm Mike Brown from when I am running unopposed, but I'm a lifelong resident, city of North Charleston. Grew up in 3 interdependent communities, Windsor, Union Heights, and Howard Heights, which is the home of the best fried fish and okra soup you ever had in your life from Bertha's Kitchen. If you ever had Bertha's Kitchen, you know what I'm talking about. But I've seen the growth and development of North Charleston, and I'm glad to finally be a part of it on a policy level. Thank you so much for your support down through the years. We've been able to accomplish several things in the city of North Charleston. So I'm glad they sent me back. I'm unopposed, and I thank God for that. Thank you for your support. And I just wanted to show up tonight just to tell you thank you and just to observe the other candidates. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll proceed with the opening statements. First, it will be Dan Gregory.
Try to turn this on. I'm Dan Gregory, running for District 7, which is the newer drawn district. It's mainly in the Lansing area, like it was before. I grew up in a military family. We moved to South Carolina, worked around Columbia in the South Carolina State House and Senate Governor's Office. Then went to work for Richland County, and then finally came down here. I've been a resident of North Charleston for 10 years now, and I work for the county, having retired from that. I believe my 39 years of service, as well as being a deputy sheriff, there's a lot of things and issues that we have that I believe that I can address directly, having been in government and local government for all those years. Thank you.
we will hear from Michael Brown.
Thank you. Tonight you will hear about my plan of action, but I want to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Michael Brown, as you know. I am a born leader. My father is serving in seat 1 right now, District 1. My grandfather is a pastor in North Charleston. Regardless if I get the seat or not, I will continue to be a pillar of my community and leadership. I own a production company here. I work with CCSD as far as mentoring programs and helping them expand their mind. I'm an advocate for purpose, and I believe that when God created Charleston, that he had purpose in mind, and he saw all of us, and we all need to come together and figure out what that is. And as he said, District 7 is a fairly new district, so we need new, innovative ideas, and we have to really put them together.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Now we are going to move into the question and answer segment. And I urge everyone in the audience, take notes if you have to. Make notes of what they are actually saying. This is going to move fairly quickly, so they're going to have to be succinct in their answers. Then you can go to their websites or contact anyone that you believe is worthy of more attention to find out more. But please do listen to exactly what they are saying when these questions are put to them. So the first question I'd like to ask about is gentrification. North Charleston and this community, the Liberty Hill community, like a lot of older communities in North Charleston, are really suffering from gentrification. Things are being built around it that force the property values up, and sometimes we find that it's almost a systemic gentrification that leads to that problem. Lack of services, improvements, sidewalks, streetlights, all of those things. So tell me, what do you intend to do to help combat gentrification in the older neighborhoods of North Charleston? First, we will hear from Mr. Brown.
Well, I plan on bringing, District 7 is fairly new, and it has updated qualities, sidewalks, lights, and things for the most part. But me being a part of the council, I plan on giving my ideas as far as getting the community more involved and wanting to know what their needs are, the things that, before we just push them out, try to figure out what we, need to do together. I can be honest, I haven't really created a plan of action as far as gentrification, because my district is slightly different in 7, but I'm willing to know what the people want and what they need.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Gregory.
Even though being part of District 7 and the very north end, of course, this is more so a south end issue, and as a North Charleston City Council person, you have to be ready to help out anywhere. It is absolutely well known that gentrification has absolutely obliterated the city of Charleston, and it is moving into North Charleston very fast. I think we're a lot behind the 8 ball in that. I think current administration did not even look into that. We need to have monies to build more affordable housing. We need to also make sure we have money in our programs for revitalization to keep people in their homes too. And I also want to look at working on the business fees to try to get a grocery store in that area from our food desert that we have in that area too. So I want to be a big proponent, even though it's not my district, to really help out in that area because it is well needed.
Thank you. Good evening.
Mr. Gregory, we'll begin with you with our second question. What do you feel is the most pressing issue facing your district, and what are your plans to address it?
I believe the transportation infrastructure. I am so happy that they're building that Palmetto Commerce interchange, which should be probably exit 206 off 26. That'll alleviate the Ashley Phosphate traffic a lot. I think it'll really help that area of District 7. Also the transit that will start up in near the fairgrounds where you have a park and ride. And of course, that 20-mile system that will be coming in a few years, we need to make sure that keeps on schedule. Monies are funded because that's going to be a major thing even for the south end all the way down, having that transit system in place. That'll also help alleviate. We need to have smart growth, and that is directly related. You don't want to put a 1,000-home place on that has a 2-lane country road getting in and out. It just will not work. We're seeing a lot of that in the city. Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
So I have to agree with them. Infrastructure as well. It's a very fast-growing city. Lansing area alone is pretty busy with traffic. The roads are pretty small. The lanes are small. We definitely have to focus on the infrastructure. And as he said, the bus system, I feel like it'll be a great decision as well for the ecosystem. Less cars on the roads, more people. I know Charleston isn't normally a city where people ride, take the bus. They don't, do it as frequent as northern cities, but I do think it would be a great benefit for us to do that. Park our cars, as he said, by the fairgrounds, and ride the bus.
Okay, so far we've covered gentrification. We've asked the candidates about pressing issues. And now I'd like to ask about one area that all of the districts are interested in, and that is education. Now, we understand that City Council does not make the policies regarding education. That is not their department. But our City Council and our mayor do have influence, valuable influence. And so we ask this question just to get your opinions on this issue. With regard to education, I know that there was a bill currently pending, I think sponsored by Representative Pendarvis, seeking to form a separate North Charleston school district. There are issues that are present in North Charleston that may not necessarily be the same thing in Charleston City. Do you think that this is a possible solution to improving the control and access of what happens in our school districts, or do you have other thoughts on it? And we will go this time with Mr. Gregory.
Don't get me started on the council, the school district. They're failing our students. And more about policies that don't even align with anything that I'm aware of. As far as the creating a different school district, I don't know if we're at that point yet. I think that we need to definitely have inroads into the council, to the school board, try to open up more avenues to talk about it. I do think we need to back up in case they just keep thumbing their nose at us, because our children are the main focus of our future and all that, and they are not being served right now in this school district. And so I would try my best to work with people, because that's the quickest way to get things solved. But on the other hand, we do what we must do because that's our children. And so that's pretty much where I look at that.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Mr. Gray.
Yes, this is a very important matter, and as he said, I feel like the students are held in a place where they shouldn't be held accountable. And I do feel like we have to put more focus on the root of the issue. And for me, fairly being a student not too long ago, I can honestly say operating in my creativity as a student matters. And, although it's the ideal lifestyle to, live in the complete matrix of elementary, middle school, high school, college, career job, this is oppressing to a lot of students, their minds and their mental. So I would work with CCSD for mentorship programs, as well as tutoring, as well as mental health, and get the students more interested in everything. I just feel like we should hire our own teachers and put them through their own process, but it's not the students, and that's not the reason why they're failing. We have to put more time into them.
Thank you, Tony. Last one, you can breathe. We'll start with Mr. Brown. Affordable housing is an issue in all of the districts. What are your specific plans to address the affordable housing issue in your specific district in light of the current infrastructure improvements, such as the 526 expansion?
So for my district, one thing I realized, I live in my district, it's a very wealthy district, but most of the people who live in my district don't work in their district. So I feel if we hit the root of the issue and bring higher paying jobs to the area, but first we have to focus on correct training as far as employees and staff. We can't bring higher paying jobs here without a healthy staff. And one thing I realized in North Charleston, they say we have bad service as far as our businesses and things are concerned. So we have to put time and complete effort into training our employees. I think that'll be one great way to hit the problem at the root, but definitely higher paying jobs. That's the obvious thing, but hitting it at the root would be training, better training.
Mr. Gregory?
Affordable housing and rent is quite high on my priorities. We need to, as a council, on that end, and even the mayor, need to work on some zoning issues and all that to where we're allowed to have more density. We're not affecting older neighborhoods. I'm not speaking of that. Where we can also allow developers some help if they agree to have workforce housing. I think that would also help. I think we need to build things out of our old buildings that are around. Not only helping lowering rent by having them build those in, but also take care of some blight in the city by doing that. So that is one of my major priorities as a council person.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was the end of the question round. Now you'll have 2 minutes to provide your constituents with your closing statements. And we'll begin with Mr. Gregory.
I was going to get a break there. It's quite a privilege to do this. And like I said, 39 years and retired now from the county. And I believe I've got more years to give, and also being retired, I believe that I'll have the time to really work with people, really get in there and review things, research things. That's a lot of fun to me. All in my government career, I always tried to look at things, make things work better, quicker, and cost less. I'm not afraid of spending money though, as long as it's done right. And it's looked at. I don't have a problem with spending money if it's worth the effort. And I'm sure there are many things out there that we can do that with that people will not have a problem. So I think that's some of the major things that I have. I also think we need to work on, it'll be mainly a new council, pretty much, at least half, to work on some things as far as working with each other better and relying on each other more, and the mayor having more folks to look at. That way we don't have a mayor that only focuses on certain people or certain areas. I think that'll help out tremendously. Thank you.
Mr. Brown.
First, I want to say thank you again for the opportunity. I don't take this lightly. My view of politics has changed over the last few years. I used to see it as such a serious thing where you couldn't speak, you couldn't have fun. But I want to bring a new innovative approach to it, especially District 7. I realize that a lot of the people who live in my area range from fresh out of college, 22 to 40, and a lot of the reason they aren't getting out to vote is because we aren't making politics interesting enough, and this is our job to do to reach the people. Of course, we can continue to run things the way we've been doing it in our own circle, in our own bubble, but I want to know what you guys want. I've been a servant my entire life, and I will continue to be a servant, but I want to know what you guys need, what you want, and we can make it happen. We can make it happen.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us this evening. We appreciate your insight and your statements. Constituents, you've heard what they have to say. Now the ball's in your court. Thank you again for being with us this evening. And we will switch out for our District 8 candidates. Middle table. This is everybody that's here.
Test.
All right, welcome everybody.
Okay, I should do that first. Welcome, everyone. These are your District 8 candidates. We have Mr. Brandon Hudson. We have Ms. Kay Allen and Mr. Andre Middleton, and also Mr. Greg Perry. There is one other candidate, that was William Parker, but he is not here. So we welcome you all, and everyone has a good platform. Everyone has been briefed on the format. So we'd like to get started promptly with the opening statements. And we will proceed with an opening statement from Mr. Andre Middleton.
Hello. You ready? My name is Andre Middleton. I grew up right here on Liberty Hill. And after graduating from North Charleston High School, I went to Atlanta, where I attended Morehouse College. After I graduated, I raised my family, stayed in Atlanta for over 20 years, and I came back home in 2012. Since I've been home, I've been selling cars, sold cars in the auto industry, worked for Kendrick Toyota, with Kendrick Jeep, as well as Hudson Nissan. And now I'm working as a longshoreman, and if I don't catch work, I work. And what has me be in the race today is simply, I was complaining about what's going on in politics, and it's real easy to complain from the cheat sheets, but it takes a whole different thing to actually put your butt on the line and actually get in the race. And so that's exactly what I did. I got in the race because I want to make a difference for my community, and I know that I can't do it by myself, but together we can make things happen. Thank you.
All right. The next candidate is Ms. Kay Hyman.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kay Hyman, and I'm running to win your vote for City Council District 8. I'm a proud resident of this district where I've lived my entire life, as did my parents and my grandparents. I'm also a passionate advocate for animals, the most vulnerable amongst us, children, the elderly, and of course the environment. I bring a unique perspective to the District 8 seat. I'm the only woman and a breast cancer survivor. I'm running because I believe we need a fresh voice and a new vision for our district and city council. I will work hard, very hard, to address the issues that matter most to you and your families, like improving public safety, reducing crime, and advocating for our youth. I will create an atmosphere of respect so we can celebrate each other's differences rather than letting them divide us. I'm Kay Hyman, and I'm running for City Council, District 8.
Thank you. And we will now hear from Mr. Greg Perry.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Perry. I have lived in North Charleston my entire life. I actually grew up in a community called Century Oaks on West Enterprise, right next to Liberty Hill. I grew up going to church on Nesbitt Avenue, going to Little Bethel. I have dedicated over a decade of my life to community service. I started a nonprofit in 2009 to help single moms. I have been a mentor, youth basketball coach, a volunteer chaplain at the detention center on Leeds Avenue, and now I'm running for council. I am not running to be another public official because we have enough of those, but I'm running to be a public servant. And I hope that my track record and my resume shows how committed I am to serving you. Thank you.
And Mr. Brandon Hudson.
Hello. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm running for District 8. I've lived in the district since 2014. I live in New Terrace Reserve. I'm running because, as you know, North Charleston's gonna have a new mayor, but we're also gonna have at least half new city council. So this is a great opportunity to update the vision and direction of our city. Somebody who has experience and passion for what the city needs, like myself, and can advocate for our community. Being on city council is not far from what I'm already doing. I'm on the New Terrace Reserve HOA, and I've been the president for 6 years. As the president, I deal with our long-term, short-term planning, our budgeting, setting dues, and even neighborhood building policies and property rights. Transparency has been something that's been incredibly important for me as a member of the board, and open communication with residents. Again, all that translates directly into a role on city council. The big three things for me is, one, I want to promote pedestrian safety, make sure that we're taking care of our residents. Two, create safe and clean neighborhoods. And three, take care of and improve what we currently have.
Thank you. And at this point, we will move into our question and answer segment. And the first question that is before the panel deals with gentrification, that big word that we hear in virtually every community. The problem is that we have older homes and businesses that are in our communities, and they find themselves in jeopardy because of rising land values from things that are being built around it that increase the value of their property. And this community is one of them. We'd like to know what your thoughts are on gentrification and what you plan to do about it. And the first candidate that we will hear from is Ms. Kay Hyman.
I'm going to stand up for this one. Gentrification is a horrible, horrible problem, particularly here in Liberty Hill, and it's heartbreaking to me. When Liberty Hill is and has always been the heartbeat of North Charleston. Liberty Hill is where we were born. North Charleston started in Liberty Hill, and it's painful for me to see homes that are degrading because they're not getting the help they need. There are so many programs throughout our state that are able to assist with heirs property, with helping to build homes better, putting new roofs on homes. And what we need to do is to make sure that we are going to get these programs to the people who truly need them. I think that it's critical that we preserve our history and tell our history the way that it really is.
Thank you. And now we will hear from Mr. Brandon Hudson.
Sorry, I'm having trouble finding the power button on this thing. Thank you. Yeah, so gentrification, it's such a dirty word. The thing about gentrification is that it doesn't mean that we have to push people out of the community. We can work with the community like Liberty Hill, like Union Heights, like River Barony, Horizon Village, all these areas, and we can uplift together. So I'm working as a city council person to make sure that you are representing your people, the people in your neighborhoods, and identifying what it is that a neighborhood like Liberty Hill wants, and then taking that and making sure that council understands that that's what that neighborhood wants, and then working with the existing residents to make sure that that's what happens. A great example being down in Union Heights, where the city, the county, and private developers came in and identified depressed properties that residents had owned and needed to improve, and finding grant money to improve and uplift those homes so that their equity rose, while developers bought city-owned lots, built them up, and sold them to income-based residents.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. And now we will hear from Mr. Greg Perry.
So North Charleston, right now, we are the third largest city in this state. We're growing at an exponential rate. In the next 7 to 10 years, North Charleston will become the largest city in this state. And if we're not careful, this city will not be affordable for anyone. But we have a thing, it's federal funding called Community Development Block Grant. This money is meant to give to local municipalities to invest in infrastructure, to invest in critical repair. I will use those funds to invest in critical repair to make certain that the affordable housing we currently have remains affordable, and that we invest in more affordable housing throughout the city of North Charleston. And we want to make certain that we don't push people out of their communities.
And now, Mr. Andre Middleton.
So as it pertains to gentrification, this is something that's not only an issue that is here in our area in District 8, but this is something that's going on across the country. And I really think this is an opportunity for us to lead the way as to people finding a humane way to deal with gentrification. And what I mean by that is where developers, community leaders, and the community work on finding a solution, a creative solution that we get the new amenities without displacing the people. Because people don't mind paying higher rents, they just want to make sure they don't have to pay for, choose between food and a place to stay. And so we want to make sure that when we upgrade the neighborhood, that we actually upgrade the people as well, so far as making sure that they have sustainable jobs that can help them take care of the changes that are coming, because change is coming. We just want to find a way that we can change together where it's profitable for the developers and it makes sense for the people.
Thank you. Our next question, what is the most pressing issue facing your district, in your opinion, and what are your plans to address it? And we'll begin with Mr. Perry.
So District 8, it stretches from McMillan to Fremont Road. And in between, there are so many different communities that have different needs. So some communities, the issue is that the issue is quality of life. Some communities, they need sidewalks. Other communities, they have traffic speeding through their streets or cars speeding through their streets, and they need some traffic calming strategies like speed bumps or chicanes to make certain that we deal with that. Then we have other communities that just need investment, updated community centers like Felix Pinckney, Liberty Hill. I will, as I mentioned earlier, community development block grant, it's also meant to invest in infrastructure, roads, and community centers. So we talk about what the issue is, but how you're going to get it fixed. And that is using the funds that we have that is given to municipalities to invest in communities that go overlooked and underserved, and invest in the city or in the district to make sure that we improve the quality of life for everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Hyman?
I think the most pressing need is obvious. It's in the news every day in the last 2 weeks, and that's supporting our educators and supporting our education system by helping our youth, partnering with nonprofits and students to focus on creating students who compete and excel for great jobs, getting our students to a level of where they are able to compete in this world is critical to helping to uplift everyone in our community. And that working with our educators, with the school system is one of the most pressing things that I see right now that we need to take care of.
Thank you. Mr. Middleton?
And I would have to agree with Kay. I think education, I think that's one of the biggest issues that we can work on that impacts several different areas. That impacts crime, that impacts people's ability to get jobs. And I think that how we do that is we look at best practices that we have here in the state as well as in other areas. Like what have they done to impact education to make a difference for their different communities? And I think that's where we start.
Thank you. Mr. Hudson?
So the most pressing issue, I think, is it's hard to identify a specific thing, right? But I think you can sum it up and say that we need to make sure that we're taking care of what we already have. So investing tax dollars in our existing neighborhoods, particularly in District 8, well, almost every neighborhood's an existing neighborhood. So spending tax dollars, improving walkability, adding sidewalks where they're needed, adding bike paths that allow access for people to get to bus stops and to the low country rapid transit line that's coming on Rivers Avenue. Introducing traffic calming on major thoroughfares where pedestrians are often the primary users of areas. We also need to reinvest in our existing neighborhoods, make changes like putting more trash cans in, making sure that sidewalks that are already there are taken care of and are clean, investing in city-owned spaces so our parks are enjoyable and pleasurable to visit, so you don't have to get a car to go somewhere. And then we also need to, of course, address our infrastructure, our flooding and pollution problems, particularly Phillip Creek. Thank you.
Okay, We are trying to take a trip around some of the issues that are important to the voters. And City Council has a lot of power. City Council, in conjunction with the mayor, have a lot of power about what happens to you in your communities. And one question that we're going to ask them deals with something that they don't have direct control over, but I know it impacts every community, and that's education. City Council doesn't have the power to write that policy. They don't have the power to set those laws, but they do have power and influence. And so I asked them this question. Representative Pendarvis has proposed a bill that is pending now to separate the North Charleston School District into a district of its own. And that he is posing that as a reaction to a number of issues and that are existing in our community. What do you think about this issue, and do you have any alternative ideas on how we might better improve the North Charleston School District? And the first person that I'm going to ask is Mr. Perry.
So North Charleston, we put the most money into Charleston County School District, and we do not receive the right amount of attention in our schools, right? So I think that if we're going to have a high quality learning experience and give our students the development tools they need for a successful learning outcome, it is when we fight for our students, when we fight for our kids in North Charleston. And if that means separating from Charleston County, I absolutely stand for that, and I will fight for that as well.
Okay, next, Ms. Hyman.
Education is critical to elevating everyone in our community. It helps to get everybody together. It helps us to reach our goals. And I think that the biggest thing that we need to look at is how the school board is directing what's happening in our schools right now. It is so important that we as parents, as members of the community, have a say in how our children are taught. And I think that Mr. Pendarvis has a really good idea in reference to that bill that he is trying to implement. It's going to cost us, but I think in the long run, it's going to be a benefit to everyone in this community.
Thank you. And Mr. Brandon Hudson.
Thank you. Yeah, so what a complex issue it's been over the last few weeks for sure. Yeah, so I think obviously, as everyone else has stated, I'm certainly not opposed to the city of North Charleston creating its own school district. However, that said, I think that we certainly do need to exercise every avenue to not do that. I mean, separation, if we cannot get if the school district continues down this path, I think that's the only solution. But if we can continue to maintain a good relationship with the school district, identify our schools and the problems in our schools, and make legitimate cases that they will listen and give us the funding that we need, rather than this equal allocation that they keep talking about. I think that that's an opportunity to try and stay in the district and not have to undertake in the next 4 years such a huge expenditure to start a whole new school district. And then also, obviously, making sure that regardless of if we're in our district or not, that we're finding ways to provide for parents with after-school programs and summer programs.
Thank you. And Mr. Andre Middleton.
Okay, I think that's a good idea that he has. I'm with Brandon in regards to maybe exhausting all possibilities before we actually take that route of taking ourselves away from the Charleston County School District. And I think that one of the things is we can look at the best practices from the schools that are working, because we have schools here that work. What are they doing? How can that school be effective? Let's look at maybe trying to figure out what they're doing and do those things, and find champions in our community, because I'm sure that we have the creative brains out there to find a solution to make it work. It's just a matter of us getting involved. We can't do it from the sidelines because there's a whole lot of people talking about what needs to be done, but there's not a whole lot of people engaging and getting involved. And that's what we need. That's what we're going to need in a whole lot of areas in North Charleston. City council can't do it by itself. We need people, it's like who are here tonight. You have to get involved. Any problem that we have in North Charleston can be solved by us in North Charleston.
Thank you. Our last and final question, and we're going to start with Mr. Middleton because he had an opportunity to go first. You've all already touched on, to some extent, the affordable housing issue. But affordable housing is a big issue, and it touches all of the districts, all of the cities throughout the state. So what are your specific plans to address affordable housing, specifically in light of the current infrastructure improvements that are planned, such as the 526 expansion? And again, we'll start with Mr. Middleton.
I think the key is going to be working with the developers, working with community leaders, and again, working with the community and finding creative ways to make it happen. And I think that we also have to make sure that we have in that mix of ideas is income-based property, income-based housing, so that it doesn't matter how much money you make, you will have an opportunity to stay in Liberty Hill. Because one of the things that Liberty Hill or North Charleston is one of the things we don't want to happen is for North Charleston to look like Charleston. It's like I really want to keep North Charleston with the same character and history and all the things that are important to us.
Thank you. Mr. Hudson.
All right, thank you. So affordable housing, we have a really obsolete zoning policy in North Charleston, and that has created a lot of situations where we cannot build houses or housing where it's needed. So I think the first thing is we need to completely overhaul our 50-year-old zoning policy to allow us to build things where we want, how we want, and the way that we want. A great example of that is the Low Country Rapid Transit lines coming through, and there's a special overlay district there. And so what we can do is find where those stations are going to be and identify how we can put more affordable housing, more attainable housing, more mixed type housing, more businesses, more opportunities for people who can live, work, and get around without having to be so car-centric. I think we also need to make sure that we're identifying where housing already is and leveraging the programs that exist in the county and the city and at the state to uplift those homes to make them more livable. Identifying places where housing that's maybe underutilized.
Thank you. Mr. Perry.
So to address the affordable housing issue, we're going to have to work with nonprofits like Metanoia. We're going to have to get philanthropic capital to invest in the development of affordable housing. We're going to have to look at repurposing buildings that we currently have in North Charleston, as opposed to cutting down trees and paving over green grass, and maybe using some of those buildings for mixed use. We're going to have to, again, make certain that we do that critical repair in communities like Liberty Hill and Ferndale and Days Hill. They may not be in this district, but those communities and other communities like that to address the affordable housing issue in North Charleston.
Thank you. Ms. Hyman.
Affordable housing has been an issue for us for many, many years, and I definitely do not want to see us go the way of the city of Charleston. The city of North Charleston owns a lot of property. There are available lots that could be used to help people to be able to own their own homes. We have to get creative. We have to make way for the future, and kids that are growing up now, we don't want them to move away. Liberty Hill, a lot of the kids that I remember from the 70s and the 80s, they all moved away, and they would, if they had more opportunity here to own a home, I think that they would be more likely to stay. And we have got to got to make this a very important part of our next session. I don't think that it's ever been really, truly addressed.
Thank you. That ends the round of questionings. We'll ask you for your closing statements. You will have 2 minutes to present your closing statements to your constituents, and we will go in this order: Mr. Perry, Mr. Hudson, Mr. Middleton, and Ms. Hyman.
So, like I said, I grew up in Century Oaks, right next to Liberty Hill. My mom worked at National Living in Park Circle, and my mom actually had an older coworker that lived in Liberty Hill. And one day my mom asked me, she said, I need you to mow her lawn. I may have been 10 or 11 years old, and the grass may have came to my waist. But after mowing that lawn all Saturday, I asked my mom, I said, how much is she going to pay me? Her response was, she's not going to pay you anything. She said, you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart. And if you don't have any goodness, she said, find some goodness and do it from that place. So from that age, from that day, I have been serving my community out of the goodness of my heart. I have, again, started a nonprofit for single moms. I have spent over a decade of my life working for my community, and I plan to spend the rest of my life serving my community. I plan to invest, work for affordable housing, dedicated bike lanes to decrease crime, to make certain that we have traffic calming strategies, and that we clean up our communities and have critical repair. And if you want change in North Charleston, please vote Greg Perry on November the 7th for North Charleston City Council, District 8. Thank you.
Again, I'm Brandon Hudson. Thank you, everyone who came out. I'm running because I want to be a part of the next vision for North Charleston. I'm passionate and I understand what's needed. I have a lot of experience being HOA president for the last 7 years with what it takes to run and budget for a neighborhood, and that can translate directly into a role on city council. I want to promote pedestrian safety, make sure that we're taking care of our residential streets and preventing pass-through traffic from coming through and making our neighborhoods dangerous. I want to make sure that our neighborhoods are safe and clean so that we can be proud to live where we are. I also want to take care and improve what we already have. Our existing neighborhoods deserve the same attention as newer neighborhoods. We need to take care of our parks, clean up our streets, make sure that we can be proud of where we live and continue to be proud of where we live. And then the biggest thing for me is our zoning policy. We need to make sure that we're updating our zoning policy. It's obsolete. It's created so many problems in the city. We absolutely have to update it. Other cities like Greenville have already done it, so we won't be the first. All we have to do is make sure that we do it and do it right so that we can build the city that we want. We can build how we want, where we want, when we want, instead of chasing after developers. I have endorsements. I've been endorsed by our current city councilman for District 8, Bob King. I've been endorsed by our current county councilman, Rob Werman. I have a lot of local businesses that are behind me. The Quick Stop down the road, Palmetto Valley Pros, Roadside Balloons, Park Pets are all supporting me in this election. And I'd love if you would join them. Thank you.
My name is Andre Middleton. I have a friend of mine, his name is Light Brown. And Light Brown calls his friends, he calls them his super friends. And he calls them this because they possess different skills. Like one of his friends, she's really good at bringing joy. So her superpower is, happiness. He has another one that has the unite people. And so their superpower is a united.
Unknown caller.
So, as I said earlier, in being a city councilman, I can't do it alone. And so I'm going to ask everyone on the sound of my voice to bring your superpower to the stage. Bring your superpower to North Charleston, because I can't do it alone, but we can do it together. And here tonight, I have my super friends. I got Brandon, who is my superpower of zoning. I got Kay, her superpower, Kay is a uniter. And then I also have Greg, he's a money man. Because one of the things that I'm challenging all of the people running for office is don't disappear after the election, because we still need your superpower, whatever that may be. Bring it to the table, because we need everyone working together to make North Charleston better. And as I told you earlier, I worked in the car industry.
And it's a 100% sales commission job. And so if you don't sell, you don't eat. And one of the things models I came up for myself is, there's gotta be a way. It's gotta be a way to make this happen. And so as it pertains to the issues that we have in North Charleston, as it pertains to me being a councilman, I want you to remember, there has to be a way. So on November 7th, please vote for me, Andre Middleton.
I'm Kay Hyman. Many of you may know me for the last 30 years. I've worked for Charleston Animal Society. I have worked with legislators, congressmen. I have been a neighborhood council president's wife and secretary for over 10 years in Palmetto Gardens. We actually got a grant to put the palmetto trees that are down on Montague that you see today. I'm very, very proud to live here. I'm actually in my childhood home, right around the corner from Liberty Hill. My husband went to Bonds Wilson High School. I went to North Charleston High School. I have the heart for this job. I am 63 years old. I'm an advocate for the voiceless, and I want to make sure that our community and our city is a better place for our children and our grandchildren. And that's why I want to be your council person, because I know that I can unite people. As has been said, I am a voice that can speak for you, and I will listen to whatever your concerns are. I'm Kay Hyman. Vote for Kay on November 8th. For District 8. Sorry.
Thank you to all the candidates for being with us this evening. Thank you for being with us and allowing your constituents to hear your vision and your passion and your plans for your district as well as the city of North Charleston. We'll take a couple of moments to switch out from District 8 to District 10. Thank you.
The internet went down on mine. No, I was giving them our Facebook page. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do I share it from here? Yeah, they put it with the internet went bad. I was like, oh my gosh. And see, this is my internet. This is my Terra internet. And yeah, it somehow went dead. See, I don't have no more signal.
While we are waiting for the candidates from District 10 to come forward, let me remind you that when you are looking for your candidates for city council, remember that these people are your liaison in your district. It has to be someone that you can relate to, someone that you can trust and feels that they will hear you and advocate for you. It's important that city council works together in conjunction with the mayor in order to make things happen in North Charleston. So do think about the people that you are seeing, make your notes, and make the best selection that you can. And we have the candidates for District 10 ready to come forward now.
two in the center.
Okay.
Yep.
Social distance.
To you.
Okay, we are back, and we have the candidates for District 10. On the stage is Mr. Michael A. Brown and Mr. Aaron Hicks. Mr. Aaron Hicks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
And Mr. Kevin Hollinshed Sr. and Ms. Rebecca Rushton. Okay. All right. And we will begin with their opening statements. We will take the opening statements in the order that I just read. First, Mr. Brown, then Mr. Hicks, Mr. Hollinshed, and Ms. Rushton. Opening statements are 1 minute. Press the
Thank you, Dr. Hicks. So good evening to everyone. Michael Brown, incumbent council member for District 10, City of North Charleston. I'm running for council is to finish some of the work that has been previously done. Coming to District 10, 2007, it's quite a bit of an issue when we start to look at improvements to the community, start to look at economics, start to look at safety. Not only that, it was a great port production was taking place, and with that, it was impacting on its communities. With that, it was creating the Low Country Alliance for Model Communities to deal with some of the things, and with that, it was 4 key elements that they brought up, which was housing, economics, education, and housing. And with that, the community stood on those plans and moving forward. Here we are today with a lot of improvements that have been made, quite a bit, and with more to come. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of things that's happening in District 10, more is to come, and I appreciate the point to run for council. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Aaron Hicks. I am a native son of the city of North Charleston. I am a pastor in the local area, business owner, a father, and a husband. I am running for District 10, not because I have to, but because I feel like it's a mandate for me. I am not someone who moved to North Charleston. I was born, I was raised here. And I have spent the last 36 years of my life watching District 10 be passed over while the rest of the districts experience quality of life. I am at a point now where I am running for District 10 to be a strong voice, a strong advocation, and great representation for the people at this district.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Hollinshed. Yes, I'm a lifelong resident, born in the district of North Charleston. I can remember North Charleston was first incorporated. I can remember when Gussie Green first ran for council. But let's talk about the last 16 years. If you can look at the other part of North Charleston, they spent $40 million in Park Circle and over here in Daniel Jones, and just began to spend $16 million in North Charleston and District 10. The last 16 years were horrible. We need stronger representation to be able to go to the table and negotiate for everybody, not just a segment of North Charleston and leave the poor and plighted people out. We were promised a grocery store back in 2015, never happened. When Piggly Wiggly and Dosh's wanted to locate there, they weren't allowed. You asked the question why. So again, I'm Kevin Holland, Chair. I'll be able to answer any questions that you want later. Thank you. Here you go.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Rushton. I live in Chicora. I've lived in Chicora for 10 years. I chose to run for city council because I feel like it's time for a change. We need to move forward with our district, as well as the fact that District 10 is now encompassing part of Park Circle and I believe part of the Wayland, and we're growing. We have vastly different interests on both ends of our spectrum. We have Chicora to the south, and we also have Park Circle. So I feel like I have the ability to think of all of the districts, work together with all of the districts, and get us moving in the forward direction so that we all are benefiting in the same fashion.
Thank you, Ms. Rushton. And now we will move into the question and answer segment. And our first question deals with the big problem of gentrification. And gentrification is an issue all over the country, especially and definitely here in North Charleston. We have a problem with some of the older communities, rising property values, and it is forcing lifetime property owners out because they cannot afford it. And then there are other things that deal with lack of infrastructure that also deals with the decline in the property and also lead to gentrification. So I ask you, what are your ideas about how to address gentrification in North Charleston? And we will first go with Ms. Rushton, who will be followed by Mr. Hollingshed, then Mr. Hicks, and Mr. Brown.
Hello. I live in Chicora, which is obviously a predominantly African-American neighborhood. I think the biggest reason why I live in Chicora is because I love the diversity of my neighbors. One of the reasons I'm running for city council is because I want to see the diversity of that neighborhood remain the way it is. Unfortunately, we don't have the control over gentrification. I mean, they're property owners, they're developers, there are large swaths of real estate owned by people, and we don't have that control. We do need to come up with some ideas, some policies, so that we keep the people who live in the neighborhood, so that we keep houses affordable for people that can live in the neighborhood. I mean, there's, like I said, there's a vast difference between the value of property in Park Circle and the value of property, say, in Union Heights and Chicora. That's going to be a hard ball to juggle, but I think, you know, if we think of the policies and go in the right direction, that hopefully we'll be able to preserve our neighborhoods. The number one thing is to support the neighbors that are there now, the homeowners that are there now, so that they can stay and continue to be there and pass those houses on to their families.
Well, gentrification is a hard issue to discuss, but we have to know about the Great Migration. The Great Migration started when Mayor Riley began to develop the east side and parts of the city of Charleston and pushed all the poor and plighted people further into North Charleston. So they moved to areas for which they can afford. Most people move to the areas of common interest affordability. So now what's happening is that even the people that are in the city of Charleston, let's be honest about it, some white folks can't afford to live downtown. So they move to areas like Union Heights. But the problem is, real briefly, you have houses in Union Heights that are being sold for $50,000 and resold for $150,000. The poor and innocent people in the community can't keep up their homes. We need to make sure that CDG block grant money is realigned to be able to help those who need help to winterize and stabilize their homes so they can keep it. But then we also need to educate those to understand the value and the network of their property. So it's not a quick answer, that just gives you a little snippet of it.
Gentrification is inevitable. So with that being said, we need to take a playbook out of what Charleston County just did. This past, I think it was yesterday, I attended a groundbreaking ceremony that was able to happen because Charleston County invested $1.5 million for a townhome development where individuals that are working class would be able to afford to stay there. So the number one word that's going to help gentrification is collaboration. We have to be willing to do that, because when we invest, that brings down the cost of lumber, that brings down the cost of wages that has to be paid to build these homes. So collaboration and forging great relationships with developers and other municipalities is how we get the job done.
I think we touched on quite a bit of the subject as we start to speak about gentrification. When we look at gentrification, it's all economics. And we start to look at what is happening within our communities. One of the things I'll say, it cannot stay, I know, within District 10, most southern part the way it is. When we start to look at home developments, when we start to look at how do we improve the communities, one of the key points that we brought out or we spoke on is how do we create more affordable housing to help that. But with creating affordable housing, it won't stop gentrification. It won't stop the rising in price on housing. It won't stop the rising price on property. More than a few years in property was going in Union Heights, it was 50 by 30. I think the average price was somewhere right around $12,000. We did a appraisal on that piece of property and it went for somewhere around $40,000. This is what's happening within our communities.
Thank you. For our next question, we will take them in this order. Mr. Hicks, Ms. Rushton, Mr. Brown, and then Mr. Hollington. In your opinion, what is the most pressing issue facing your specific district? And what are your plans to address that issue?
The most pressing issue is not one issue. When you look at District 10, because of the redistricting of the lines, on one side of the track, you have a platform that needs to be run. On the other side of the track, those needs may not be the same for the other. The first and most important thing is to be able to advocate that this district has the same equality of life when it comes to the rest of the district. What does that mean? We need to make sure that everything the other districts are receiving, we receive at the same time. So if we do that, we will be able to service the rest of the district. That means being able to advocate at the table and not being silent for the people. Not one issue. There's many issues that are important at one time in this district.
I agree with Mr. Hicks. We have two vastly different neighborhoods in one district. We have Park Circle, we have Union Heights, we have Wayland, we have Chicora. There's not just one answer to this question. I mean, we all have basically some of the same issues. We have flooding, we have traffic, we have trains. We cannot answer that with just one question. But I agree with him on the same token. We need to be able to advocate for everyone in each one of our districts. We need to be able to fight for our districts, regardless if we're fighting for Chicora, regardless if we're fighting for Park Circle, regardless if we're fighting for Union Heights, regardless if we're fighting for Wayland. We all need to treat them equally the same and make sure they are getting the same amount of amenities that the rest of North Charleston is getting.
I just want to make it clear that the Wayland is not part of District 10. And moving forward, they said it just right. We got two different, when redistricting brought up two different areas, dealing with Park Circle in the southern part of North Charleston. But if I have to look at what is the most key issues, and I would say for District 10, one would be safety, but not only that safety for the city of North Charleston, not only for District 10, but the city of North Charleston. But we do have other issues, housing, we have other issues, flooding, we have quite a bit of other issues that needs to be addressed, and I think they are moving forward. We just need more help to make it happen. But there's not just one thing. We're dealing with two different economics when we start to speaking about what will happen between McMillan going north and McMillan going south.
Well, I can tell you, I see Mr. Singletary in the audience. When they were drawing the district lines, that created a problem. We got to take the time to educate one another about how the district line and how people have different interests, as they were saying. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be honest with you. We can talk about flooding and all those issues in the area. Until we're able to balance the voters within the area to understand the common needs of everybody, what's going to happen is you're going to have one population come in and they're going to dominate the others, and then less than fortunate is going to be taken over, and then their voice is not going to be heard. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I've seen it happen in the city of Charleston. It's about to happen in District 10. Should have thought about how the lines are being drawn when we were drawing them.
Candidates, we are attempting to touch on all of the areas that concern the voters in a very general way. And we recognize that on City Council does not control education. It does not set the policies. But City Council, the mayor and City Council do have influence. And what we would like to know is there are many problems that plague our school systems, such to the extent that Marvin Pendarvis has a bill now pending to where he is advocating to separate out North Charleston School District from Charleston County, from Charleston City. So I ask you, what do you think about this proposal, and do you have any alternative views about how we may get improvements to the North Charleston school system? And we will hear from Mr. Hicks, then Ms. Ruskin, Mr. Brown, and then Mr. Howard.
Going back to one word I said earlier, collaboration. I am not elected yet, but during this campaign trail and even before, 2 years ago, I had a teacher appreciation day at my church, and I heard teachers, they'll cry for help. I then went and applied to be a substitute teacher for the schools in the district that I serve in. Since then, the last 3 months, I have been in every last school, met every principal that sits in the side of District 10, because you cannot represent who you do not know. You cannot collaborate on who you don't have a relationship with. So we can't dictate what they do, but we definitely can collaborate with them. But collaboration means we have to be present.
I completely agree. Once again, I have to agree with Mr. Hicks. I agree. I believe the same thing. I think that the city of North Charleston has done some collaboration with the Charleston County with our schools, providing schools. Chicora has the most expensive school per square foot built in the Charleston district. But that being said, we also need to engage our parents. When I was the president of the Chicora Cherokee Neighborhood Association, we tried to have our meetings in the Chicora Elementary so that we could engage our parents to come to the neighborhood meetings to see what was going on. I believe that we need to support our children. That's our number one avenue towards the future. So I definitely agree with Mr. Hicks. I believe we need to be working together with our school systems. Obviously, we can't control what the school board does, and certainly we probably don't want to be involved in what they're doing right now, but I certainly believe that we need to work in collaboration with the schools to make sure that we have a better learning environment for our students.
The initiative Representative Barnes brought forth to move out our school district, it's one that would take the point of saying, do we have the funding to do it? City of North Charleston, I think when we start thinking what the fundings come for to support the school, non-homeowners, I think that 60% tax goes to it, which North Charleston pays quite a bit of it. The Postal Courier did quite a bit of here recently and spoke about not gentrification, they call it rentification on 2/3 of homeowners or 2/3 of property within the southern part of North Charleston is rental. I've been for the last 20 years been part of Mary Ford School Improvement Council, and still is. But one of the key parts I'll say moving forward would be point on how do we get more of the parents involved, how do we get more of the communities involved? How do we make that measure to more come to educate our kids so they can be better? And I think that's what we need to do.
You really want me to address that answer? Being a former board member, let me tell you something. First of all, let me make one correction. Residential taxes do not affect the school district at all. School district is ran off of business taxes. That's what runs the school district. The school district is corrupt. I'm for separation and North Charleston starting either a charter district or its own district. But let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that money is based into the school district and it goes to per pupil per child. So the individuals that are in the district, there are nonprofits and other entities that see school districts as a business to make money. You have billionaires managing the school district projects that actually have schools that are making money off the district. The public doesn't even know what's going on with its tax dollars. So until we address those issues like that, you're going to continue to have that debacle going on. You have Coalition for Kids, now you have Moms for Liberty. You're going to have some sort of faction that rises up until we're able to understand what drives that engine that's causing the problem right now.
Thank you. Our last and final question before we get to closing statements, and we will take your responses in this order. Mr. Brown, Mr. Hicks, Mr. Hollingshed, and then Ms. Rushton. Affordable housing is an issue in all of the districts, all across the city, all across the state. What are your specific plans to address affordable housing in the district in which you will serve in light of the current infrastructure improvements such as the 526 expansion?
Thank you.
All right, you got to start in a minute or Thank you. Affordable housing is what we've been, one of the key issues that we're pushing within the district or the Southern District. One of the partners with the nonprofits that's been happening, and some more is to be coming. I think there's a great opportunity that we'll have in Exit 218 that we should be moving forward with affordable housing. There was a groundbreaking yesterday, which is North Bridge development in the hub area, which is District 10. But throughout our district and also in Union Heights, not only from council, we've been donating properties to nonprofits that they will help continue to build housing. I think there's a great initiative that the city can do, and that is to partner even much more with the housing authority. The city does not have a housing authority director, and I think it's something that's probably need to look at, because as we move forward through this, more and more as we start to grow, that's going to be an issue when we start to thinking about affordable housing within District 10, not only District 10 in the city of North Charleston.
Mr. Brown said there are things that have started developing groundbreakings. Well, District 10 has dealt with affordable housing for a long time. It's not enough. We have to come to the table and hold developers accountable. What does that mean? Before we hand you a permit, we need application saying that you will commit to at least 25% of affordable housing for workforce individuals. We need that commitment before we issue anything. And we have to make sure that we have the right representation at the table to make that happen.
I'm so good, God has blessed me to be the age of 62. And I can tell you what's going on. So I ain't gonna give you a bunch of good little words that sound good. I'm gonna tell you what's happening. When the city of North Charleston signed this $2.2 billion deal at the Navy base for development, you're talking about 700 acres. Not even 10% of 700 acres are set aside for affordable housing. You're not even taking 10% of the revenue that's generated from it to be able to put back in the community for affordable housing. But then you're gonna shake the developer's hand and not have a DBE plan. Things like that, neighbors together, for one to have mission houses in North Charleston, you want to fight against for battered women's shelter, children's shelter, when there's 400 homeless kids in the community. Come on, guys. We gotta be realistic with this.
I think one of the biggest issues with affordable housing is also rentals. I think our rents are skyrocketing. People are being priced out of the neighborhoods. They're being priced out of the districts. They're having to move farther and farther and farther away. They're not able to get to their jobs. I think we need to start putting that on the table in a big way. We should require apartments to provide X amount of affordable rentals. We need to be making sure that we are looking out for the employees of the city of North Charleston, so that when they're going to work every day, they don't have to drive all the way from Ladson or Somerville or Holly Hill to get to their job. We need to make sure that we are looking at all the avenues, not just people who are purchasing homes, but also people who are renting, so that we can keep more people here in the city of North Charleston, so that we can have employees and people that have jobs and have a decent living and a decent wage and a decent place to live.
Thank you. That ends our question and answer period. And now we'll move into our closing remarks from each of the candidates. We'll hear from Mr. Hollingshead first, followed by Mr. Brown, Ms. Rushton, and then Mr. Hicks. And just as a reminder, you have 2 minutes for your closing statements.
Well, I want to thank the Deltas, first of all, my sisters, for hosting this event. I'll tell you, I'm very passionate about what happens in North Charleston. I feel like I have more experience than what most people realize. Being a former county commissioner, I built Watermaker Park. You see the boat landings and stuff that you see around here. That was part of me when I was chairman. Got to sit on the school board, understand the operations on the school board. I understand fund balance. I understand how money goes to the government. I understand how liquid assets go into the government and where it needs to be spent. What you're going to have with me is you're not going to have a person at the table saying, help me up the road here, and then make your district suffer. That ain't going to happen. You're going to have someone that's going to be at the table. And I'm going to tell you one thing right now. The city's taxation, is revenue is up to the hill right now. So when the next group that get in there trying to find funding to do projects, you're going to hear there's no money there. Ask the question of former council members, what happened to the money? I ain't going to go on and on about that. It's proof. Wait and see what happens.
Yes. Thank you.
So thank you. What I'm saying is, would like for us to do when we leave from this meeting, not only when you start to think about District 10, but when you start to think about the city of North Charleston. Coming November the 7th, you're going to be asked to vote for not only your council member with the district that you reside in, but also the mayor's race. What I'm asking for, we as people, to be critical thinkers. Why are we voting for candidates? What has this done? What will it bring to our communities? Those are some of the key parts that we need to look at. Not only that, you're looking at some crucial points when we start to think about moving forward. We're coming up with a point when we're saying that not only will we be having at the minimum of 5 council members coming in, but we need to come with the people who understand, who have been running, who have been doing some of the great work within our communities. I won't win the vote of everyone, this is particularly asking, but I'm asking you to be critical thinkers when you come to vote, and vote your choice. Thank you.
I'm sure that we could all sit up here and talk all night about all of our passions that we have for District 10. I love my neighborhood. I love my neighbors. I feel at this point in time that it's time for a change in District 10, and so therefore I chose to run. I've spent a lot of time and effort working for District 10, working for Chicora. I was the president of Chicora Cherokee Neighborhood Association for 4 years. I feel very passionate about my neighbors. I feel very passionate about my neighborhood. And so I hope to bring that passion to Park Circle and all of the other areas that encompass our District 10. But I really just want to give everyone an option to have a change in the administration. We're getting a new mayor, we're getting some new council people, and it's time for us to move forward in our district and look for some better things for tomorrow.
Councilman Brown asked you to do something. He said, when you leave here, he says, look at the votes. I want you to do something different. When you leave here, if you got time, especially those who are members of District 10, take a moment, download the map off the city website of District 10 and drive the entire district, not just your community. Then I want you to take about an hour and drive the rest of the city. And I want you to take a real look at what you're driving through, because the rest of the city looks like North Charleston. But when you look at District 10, we look like a whole nother country. We have experienced, better yet, the last year and a half, I've been to 98% of the city council meetings, present committee meetings, and I have not heard the representation and the advocacy for the equality and the things that the people of District 10 need. That is a sign of poor representation. With all due respect to our current councilman, it is time for a change. Every last one of these individuals have said they've been elected to something. My question to all of them, how did you leave it? School board, community, city council, how did you leave it? We are tired of being last. We are a district that sits on the map with 9 other districts, but we're tired of receiving the crumbs off the table. We not only want a voice at the table, but we want advocacy at the table where we experience the same thing the other districts in District 10 receives. My name is Aaron Hicks, and I need you to make the most right choice, not the popular choice, come November 7th. Thank you.
Turn it back over to Ms. Donna now, but thank you to all of the candidates for sharing your passion and your views that you have for your individual district as well as for the city of North Charleston.
Thank you to all of the candidates who came today and who answered our questions. I urge you to go to their websites to learn more information, call their offices, and engage with them. This program is going to be streaming on, and Ms. Valerie Young, Harper Young will come up and tell you the streaming platforms where this forum can be revisited. Share it with your friends and neighbors so that they can hear it. But please, we urge you to think seriously about the votes that you cast. It's one thing to elect our politicians who serve in Washington and in the State House, but our city council people and our mayor directly, most closely affect what happens in your everyday lives. So take that choice seriously. Think about the people that you've seen, think about what you have heard. If you haven't heard enough, reach out and contact them and see what they say to you. Your vote is important. You are important. Your issues are important, and it's time that they be addressed. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Valerie Harper.
Thank you. Well, all has been said and all has been done. We all have been informed. So we're going to look for each and every one of you on November the 7th to come out to the polls and vote. We'll also be having transportation to the polls. This group here is sponsored by the South Carolina Coalition for Voter Participation with Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, North Charleston Alumni Chapter. It's going to be from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can call 843-225-0822. Or the toll-free number is 833-348-7350. And also Liberty Hill Alliance will also be having transportation to the polls, which will be that day from 7 to 7. You can call 843-452-0248, that information. Also, you can go back and watch this session on Liberty Hill Reunion Facebook page, as well as Delta Sigma Theta Sorority North Charleston Alumni page, Facebook page. And then you can also watch our channel, Liberty Hill Community North Charleston, our YouTube channel, to review the candidates. We ask that you all go to SC Votes, SC, I want to get it right, scvotes.org, to make sure you have the right precinct and to make sure your registration is in order, because otherwise your vote will not count. And trust me, I've spoken to many individuals, and after the election, they realized the vote did not count because there was something wrong with the registration. So please, please go to scvotes.org. You just have to put in your social security number and your address, and they'll walk you through the process. Okay? Well, we want to thank the candidates for taking out the time to come out. I know it's been a dreary day. We thank you all for coming out. We appreciate your participation. And we'd like to thank our moderators, Donna and Monique. You do such a wonderful, wonderful job. And we'd like to thank Royal Baptist Church because they've been really wonderful. Very wonderful helping us set up and break down. So thank you all. They work really hard for us. Also, I'd love to thank the Liberty Hill Alliance and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, North Charleston Alumni Chapter. So we thank you all for all of your help. And we're looking for y'all on November 7th, okay? Y'all have a blessed night. Travel safely home.